Today I'd like to talk about a new game coming out that's recently caught my attention, a little gem called Spellpowder Uprising. Full disclosure, I was not paid to promote this game and have no financial investment or connection to it. I was provided a free early access key to test it, with the freedom to make a video should I so desire. Through this beta access, I have played through several early builds of the game and helped debug several issues, such that I am listed under the special thanks section at the end of the credits. The developer, Rogandir, is also a somewhat active member in my YouTube and Discord community. With all that out of the way, let's talk about why this game stood out enough for me to play through it several times and help debug it on my own time. First off, Rogandir Studios and Spellpowder is primarily the work of one person. They had other people provide voice work, playtesting, and feedback, but all of the art, music, and code, to my understanding, was an individual effort over the course of several years. Given that, the overall quality is quite impressive. The visual style is a unique 3D pixel or voxel style that I haven't personally seen much before, and while it does read simple, it has some charm to it. I do wish there were a way to rotate the camera or to see behind obstacles, but it seems that might be a limitation of the art or the engine. The music itself is also nice and thematic, if a bit repetitive at times given the small track number. Spellpowder can broadly be described as a steampunk, turn-based tactical RPG that shares many similarities with Fire Emblem and XCOM, though with plenty of unique ideas going on as well. You create your own character as your choice of human, elf, orc, or dwarf, pick a set of backgrounds, decide if you're noble or commoner, more on that later, and set up your base stats. From there, you're tossed into the story, a relative nobody caught up in a class war between the magic-wielding nobility and the sword, flintlock, and potion-toting commoners. You'll soon find others fighting against the Uprising for various reasons, obtain an airship, and then set off across the continent to figure out what's going on and how you can stop it. One simple option I like is that, on new game creation, you get to decide whether you want 1 RN, hit as displayed, or 2 RN, true hit, a phrase familiar to Fire Emblem fans. I appreciate both options being available, so that you can roll with either the RNG that matches the exact displayed odds, or that matches the feeling of how often you should hit. Fire Emblem fans might notice that speed is not a stat. Doubling does not exist, so it's all about making the most of your one hit at a time every round of combat. Counterattacking on enemy phase, or player phase for enemies, consumes retaliation points. All units get 1 retaliation per turn, get a second one if they equip a shield, and a third if they use the defend command instead of taking a different action, capping at 3. This inherently limits enemy phase juggernauting and encourages more active player phase action, while still rewarding defensive builds with the ability to hit back more often. Retaliation is also limited by weapon type. Melee weapons can retaliate at melee range, but ranged weapons cannot, even if the ranged weapons can attack at one range. They can, however, fire back at range, leading to careful balancing of managing your units of various ranges to safely take out enemy squads. As far as weapons are concerned, you have one-handed melee weapons, two-handed melee weapons, firearms, staves, and potions. Each of these have multiple tiers and multiple variants, one with higher hit and one with higher crit. It's a simple thing, but it does provide options to manage whilst unlocking stronger weapons over the course of the game. Instead of traditional durability or ammo, ranged weapons and healing items have a limited number of uses per chapter, but fully restore those uses after every map. Even on Legend, the highest difficulty, I rarely had an issue where I was running out of uses entirely, although 1 or 2 mid-game chapters did completely drain me of all my healing items and leave me in a rough spot. 2 of my favorite weapon types in the game are potions and firearms. Firearms have a high base damage and solid crit, but don't increase their damage based on unit stats. Instead, to keep them relevant, they deal piercing damage, which only gets reduced by half of the opponent's defense. And potions are one of the more interesting takes on a hybrid weapon that I've seen. It's actually quite simple. They take damage or healing from the user's intelligence, but increase their range by a quarter of the user's strength. Thus, high intelligence units can deal more damage with them, but high strength units can throw them farther, even outranging enemy firearms with high enough stats, a trait that enemy alchemists will definitely show towards the late game on Legend difficulty. Spellpowder has 10 playable units and an overlapping branching class system that adds new weapons, stats, and skills every 5 to 10 levels. Starting from commoner or noble, all units branch off, overlapping one class option with their closest class in the tier until arriving at their final destination. Keeping skills from each class they visit along the way means that the units you make feel like they're yours and remember the journey that they went on. Skills are not chance-based procs or stat modulation, but are extra actions that you can choose on player phase. Swap places with an ally, dash to increase your movement for a turn, stun an enemy, refresh an ally, unleash an attack that's powered by multiple stats, and more. All skills start with one use per map, but gain extra uses every 5 levels, so that by the end of the game, you'll be swimming in basic skill uses while still having to ration your advanced skills. I've said most of what I can think of about the game's structure without going into too many details. I could explain the airship or the forging system, or go into detail on some of the cooler chapters, but I still want to leave some things for you to discover. So instead, I'll close by talking about why I think this game scratches the itch that I have for simple yet engaging tactical gameplay. Every enemy visibly shows what weapon they are using. There are no hidden skills, meaning all the info you need to make informed decisions is available at a glance. This means turns that flow into each other, and moves that don't require a significant amount of checking enemies for anything more than attack range and damage. On player phase, you get the tactical expression of managing movement abilities, using the right weapon for the job, and finding optimal angles of approach, without the often exhausting feeling of managing more than a handful of calculations at once. The smaller squad sizes, increasing from 4 to 6 with some airship upgrades, are reminiscent of XCOM, and are in my mind the perfect team size to keep every action important whilst never feeling overwhelmingly outnumbered. So you have tactical options, simple yet engaging gameplay, and consistent choice in leveling and promotion. One final thing the game does that I am personally a huge fan of is letting you pick which mission to go to next. While the campaign is primarily linear, it will hit a few points that give a choice between 2 required missions. At these points, you can choose either mission and play them in any order. This means that, if you try a mission and are having a hard time, you can back out of it and play a different mission, maybe getting some experience or a new weapon or unit to help you in the other mission that you're struggling with. This is also a great feature for replayability, as well as making your path through the game feel unique to you. I think I've praised this game enough, maybe too much. I did state my biases at the top of the video. But if anything that I've talked about sounds interesting, I would highly recommend you check out Spellpowder. I've put the Steam page link in the video description so you can take a look. With all that, I want to thank you all for indulging me. I haven't taken any sponsors yet on this channel, and although I've received several early access beta keys in the past few months, I haven't shared any videos of them on my channel until now. But let me know if this type of content appeals to you, as I do have a couple of other games that I could get to in a review. But that's all for this week. A huge shout out to Rogandir Studios for letting me play and review their game, and a big thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel. That includes Royal Laguzguard members The Forgotten L and Minirop, and Laguzguard members C2 Pigally, Enigmatic Mr. L, Mad Moke, Bro Duderman, Kumi, Miss Mesmerism, Drumstep 913, Relaz 6, Merlinin, and Reely. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.